It's about 5 past now. So I think it's probably a good time for us to get started. So I'm going to, before I formally welcome everybody, I'm just going to remind everybody that we are recording this, but we will not actually show any of you in any of the clips that we may use. It will only be ourselves or some of the wording or the slides. So please don't worry, there won't be any personal clips shown from that recording, but just to make you all aware it is being recorded. Okay, well, I'll move into my welcome proper. I don't know if I can have the slide of my face. It actually probably doesn't match with how I'm looking today, in that, do you know that the slide that comes up, it's actually a lockdown hairstyle. And actually, I could look as though it's the other way around. But anyway, a really warm welcome. A welcome back to those of you who've already participated in this programme of mentoring and being mentored. And a welcome to any new faces. Now, the last time that we actually met like this, I think was back in February this year. And, you know, times move very quickly. Lots of things change, don't they? Even in 6 months at the moment. So we're probably all in quite different places in a way to where we were then. But as I said, that's a really warm welcome to you. It's great that you're here, and hopefully it'll be an hour well spent. I think I've met quite a few of you, but for those that I haven't met, my name's Naomi Hankinson. And as it says there, I'm actually the Elizabeth Casson Board Champion for this work. Which is incredibly important to me, as I actually truly believe that access to mentoring makes a real difference to our practice, wherever that practice is. Now, most of you, I think, will be familiar with both Elizabeth Casson and the Elizabeth Casson Trust, but it's just briefly, it's to say that the Trust is here to provide support and development to occupational therapists and occupational therapy, mainly, but not exclusively, in the UK. I'm going to just direct you towards our website. It's always useful to keep checking in on the website. It is kept up to date and it does show news. It does tell us what's happening, but it'll also show you, if you look at our strategic aims, how very well this particular project fits with our strategic aims. So we feel very strongly as a trust that this is something we're glad we've invested in, and we're glad, as you're going to hear, that we've had some success with this. Just want to say that we also have the chair of our trust, Dee, with us today, and I'm sure that she'll be contributing in some way to our discussions later on. So hi, Dee, nice to have you with us. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Now, as the session is only an hour, and it's an hour out of your precious Sundays, I'm going to stop talking so we can actually get on with sharing the feedback that we've had from you about this project, and talk about some of the next steps that we're hoping to take. So I'm going to pass you over to Caroline, who's been delivering this piece of work for us. And Caroline might want to tell you a little bit more about herself, but she and Helen have been working very hard to take this project forward on our behalf. So over to you, Caroline.
Thank you, Naomi. So hello, everybody. I'm Caroline Waters. My background is 30 odd years as a senior HR director in the private sector, where I developed and ran a number of mentoring programs, sectoral, professional, inclusive, just in the way that we are doing for you and for the OT profession more generally. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk you through a few of the details of the pilot and to test some of the feedback with you. We will give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have towards the end of the session. So as you can see there from the slide, we received over 300 applications from potential mentees, and that indicated totally that there was real pent-up demand out there for this type of professional support. Of those, 209 formally registered their interest, with lots of others saying, look, I really, really want to do this, but it's just not quite the right time for me now. So I think pretty well all of the 300 were really interested and will probably engage with the programme at some point. Now, from experience, the real difficulty with pilot programs and mentoring programs generally is attracting high quality mentors. And we were absolutely delighted that we were able to attract 34 mentors. A significant number of those mentors were really quite experienced. They've been mentoring for some time. They worked with all sorts of different mentors, both within the OT profession and without. And it was really helpful that a number of those were so comfortable with the process that they were happy to take on more than one mentee. So we ended up with 54 pairs, which was a brilliant number. I think when Dee and Naomi and I and Helen first started to talk about this, our ambition was we thought we'd be lucky to get about 30 pairs. And I think we could have got about 150 pairs if we were honest. So there was absolutely full participation with all of the pairs, pretty much. I think there was just one pair that didn't make it to the end of the 3-month pilot. And I think one of the things that we've learned from our post-pilot conversations is that having some of the mentors had up to 3 mentees, that's really an awful lot of meetings and conversations to juggle. So that going forward, we would probably recommend, in general, 1 mentor-mentee relationship, but for some of the much more experienced mentors who've perhaps also got a bit more time, we think 2 could be optimum, but probably no more than that. The pilot, as I said, did run for 3 months, and we did do some pre-work, particularly with mentors beforehand, but also with mentees, just so that everybody knew what to expect, what the kind of parameters of the programme were. If I could have the next slide, please. Oops. Thank you. So the first of that kind of preparation work that we did was we produced a good mentoring guide. And this just really helped set out, if you like, the boundaries of the programme, really making it clear that this is mentoring, not coaching, for example, that it's not about professional learning in that sense. That's what your supervisors are for. This is much more about helping people take a broader view of their strengths, of their aspirations for the future, what they might do, perhaps if they're thinking about moving from one area of OT work to another, or thinking about the benefits of moving into an academic area, just really helping people with those broader considerations about how they move forward, be that in moving across disciplines or looking for promotion. And we made sure that everybody had access to that guide. It also gave lots of tips, for example, how to contract for the mentor-mentee relationship, what to do in the first meeting. So, for example, in the first meeting, it's really important for the mentor to really listen to what the mentee wants to do, how they want that relationship to work, and come to an agreement. And that can all be enshrined in a very simple contract. We also provided lots of additional tools, some things around like conversation starters. One of the bits of feedback that we had was that lots of the mentees wanted to work on their confidence. So we provided little pieces of collateral and conversation starters around things like our internal narrative, how to handle difficult conversations and difficult situations, how to reframe the way we feel about each other, and also how to really think about what our learning style was, how might we move forward. We also provided support for those who are new to mentoring with some developmental sessions, and they also had a very experienced mentor and coach called Lynn Goodacre to support them during the actual process of mentoring and to form a bit of a mentor community. And then Helen and myself were also available throughout the pilot to both the mentors and mentees to deal with any concerns or issues they may have, or perhaps to just chat through something that a mentor hadn't experienced before. We did have a few conversations. They were all very much about, this is the situation, this is what I'm thinking, how does that feel, is it sensible? So just really an ability to check in. And also for mentees who are perhaps just a little bit unsure about the boundaries. Is it okay for me to talk about this, or I'm feeling like that? Is it okay for me to push a meeting back or to bring a meeting forward, that kind of thing? Just making sure that everybody remained really comfortable and happy with the programme. And I think that ad hoc advice was really much welcome, because it allowed us to just keep things rolling, to make sure that everybody was confident, and to do any troubleshooting. It also gave us some of the themes that came through, gave us further ideas for the collateral that we were providing. So to move on now to the participant feedback. Brilliant. I mean, it is absolutely overwhelming. You know, you can see all of the wonderful 100% there. Everybody who participated would recommend the mentoring programme to a colleague. 100% felt that the relationship was successful. And I think the thing that came through really in the detail of that feedback was how flexible both mentors and mentees were in really being very open and honest with each other, and therefore getting just the right mix of all the various mentoring options to really make it work. I think the other thing that was really important to us was that everybody, without fail, reported that their confidence had grown. And this was just as true for mentors as it was for mentees, which is really fabulous. We knew that mentors learned a lot from the whole process of mentoring, but to also hear that they felt much more confident both about themselves personally and about the power of the OT profession much more generically was fabulous. Lots of the feedback from mentees was about, I felt really stuck, I didn't know which way to turn, I now feel really confident that I know what I want, that I know how to move towards that. We had a number who'd been promoted, which in just that 3-month time shows just what is possible if you've got some close-in mentoring and support. And because of that, pretty well 100% of people also said that it really supported their career development, not only because they felt more comfortable and confident in their day-to-day interactions, but also that they saw themselves in a different way and really wanted to expand their experience, perhaps move into different areas or really push for a promotion. And I think that just feeling that people have been able to pop themselves out of the rut that they were feeling they were in and really see their own value is something that is absolutely at the heart of any mentoring program, and the feedback around that was absolutely fabulous. But it didn't just stop there, not just about increased confidence, but really also about much broader benefits, increased self-awareness. So people really being able to catch themselves when they're performing well and think through what that means, what it means for their future, what it means for the way they feel about their own skills and their ability to move forward autonomously. Also, that exchange between mentor and mentee really opened things up with pretty well everybody, saying that it made them much more open to exploring things that they wouldn't otherwise have done. And I think also being able to give and receive feedback. I mean, it is a skill, as you can imagine. Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear. Yes, can hear you. No problem.
My screen's gone blank, but I'm glad you can hear me. So,
no, also hear everything.
Brilliant. Also, I think reflecting upon and understanding how to deliver personal growth. So, having an ambition to move forward, but perhaps feeling a bit concerned about the routes to that. People really felt that the relationship with a mentor, their access to their experience, what had worked for them, access to their broader network, really helped people turn that kind of opaqueness into a positive action plan that they could absolutely deal with. And I think also people could then connect what had been going on and connect how it had unblocked things for them. There were a couple of people who told us they'd had 5 or 6 failed interviews for promotion, and suddenly they saw themselves in a very different light. They were able to project their skills and they've sailed through to get promotion. One other person was approved to go on a master's course, and 2 or 3 others made clear decisions to change their career path and set out on another discipline. So it really was quite, well, I suppose it's not too grand to suggest that for some people this was quite a life-changing thing, and people were really glad that they had the opportunity to engage with it. Now, we if I could have the next slide, please. We did ask people if they would be prepared to be case studies, and again we were overwhelmed with a number of people who volunteered. 24 mentors and 33 mentees. Special thank yous to Ruth and Marika and Odette and Sapphire and Will and Lara, who we really wanted to get the story, the combined story of the mentor and the mentee, and these pairs agreed to be case stories. So we have drawn up a handful of those case studies, which we're going to share. They're all very successful, and they'll give us the opportunity to promote the programme much more broadly, because I think it's okay to see it as a kind of abstract thing, but to be really able to hear a story, hear about people who are OTs like you, and really be able to relate to that makes the programme so much more alive and so much more real. So that's a bit of a whiz through of what we learnt. I'm going to hand back to Naomi now to talk about next steps, and then we'll be able to open up for any questions or comments. Naomi.
Hi, can you hear me again?
Yes, I can.
Yes, lovely. Okay. Yeah, I think the next steps, as you've just heard, I think we were quite, perhaps we shouldn't have been, but we were quite taken aback at the absolute success of this pilot project. But I think we all took a step back and thought very clearly about the fact that we've gone through a very strange time. We've not been living through normal times. So in many ways, perhaps the success of the project could be attributed to the fact that people were feeling more isolated. People were actually getting very used to working remotely, actually consulting with people through Zoom and other platforms. So we do need to make sure that this is as beneficial as we feel it is. So we will be moving to having a second cohort of mentors and mentees, and we're in the middle at the moment of just firming up dates for that. So for those of you who actually have already been a mentor, we will be coming back to you to see that to see if after a bit of a break you'll be willing to take that role on again, and hopefully we'll attract a few more newer mentors as well through this process. So that's where we're up to at the moment. I guess really it would be nice to hear from you if there are any burning questions or any comments or any thoughts or any observations, anything that you would like to feed into this next stage while we're still in the planning process. Now,
Can I ask a question? Sorry, I'll start my video as well.
yeah, of course you can.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Helen Tomes, a retired occupational therapist. I haven't read the Good Mentoring Guide. Is that something that you've put together, or is that something that's out there so that I can look at it?
It's something that, it's Caroline, that Helen and I put together for the ECT programme. It is available. I'm sure we'll be able to provide you a link to that. If you're a very experienced mentor, you've probably seen it all before. It gives you a couple of different models.